Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to... This is practical autodidactics after the works of Valery Kurinsky. My name is Yuri Besarab. Today I wanted to speak about those problems or those issues that may, or I would say they usually come up in one way or the other, in different forms. And we need to know how to deal with them. First of all, when we feel that something doesn't work well, doesn't go well, and the soul, or our psyche if you want, usually tells us about that because it's in the state of some kind of angoisse of so we need to do something. And the first all those problems, I divide them into like three sets. The first one is physiological. So let's start with that physiological set one. So I will show you this, my favorite chart. And if in one language you feel that something is inconvenient, something doesn't work well, so this is the way we should refer to. We should go back to the basic movements or principal movements, and without which we will not be able to sound well in foreign language. So we need to analyze them, we need to fix them, and that's the first solution. Also, in this field, we need to analyze the movements. That's very important. But in addition to movements, we need to remember that we need to refocus all the time. If we don't refocus, there is like languages glued to each other. And then instead of English words or French words, there could be some Spanish words coming to you. I had a case when one lady asked me to help her because she studied Spanish and Japanese, and they glued together. So instead of Spanish words, Japanese would come up, or vice versa. This is because she didn't know the concept of focusing. Also, after this, when we realized this, and you remember about the focusing in those six languages that I spoke about, you can go to the previous videos and find by video when I speak about that in more details. But also the position of the tongue is important for us, and this is quite a difficult thing to do, because especially for French, we need to turn the tongue upside down, and also for English-speaking people, from this position of the tongue they have to turn it quite the opposite. It's like quite a different position. Or from English to German also, and no, Spanish and Italian we keep like this, but not as turned up as in English. So we need to realize these factors, we need to come back to them, and that's the way to improve the situation, which is or like fix the issues related to physiological part. The other part is mental, I would call it, or philosophical. And here we have some misconceptions that are imposed on us by the habitat, by the country, by education system, by parents, whoever. And the first of them is that we believe that if we study one language, it will be easier for us. We will go faster. We will start speaking quicker. No, because of that natural adaptation to textbooks, to dictionaries, to everything else, we are inclined to make a lot of pauses if we work only on one language. Or we will have to, in other words, use some kind of violence against ourselves. We have to force ourselves all the time to study. And usually people start to force themselves, so let's say in their childhood. It's when they go to the school, especially in the school. As soon as they go to the school, their freedom is over, because there is a lot of violence, a lot of like force used to study one language or many or other subjects. So we need to have at least, it's better at least 3, but it's better to have 5, it's better to have 6. And Kurinsky suggested to have 10, 15, 20, and so this works. this works. So this is the first problem here. Then there could be an issue with a lot of abstract names that we write down in word list or in matrix. For example, in matrix by number 52, I use matrix in Ukrainian, as you understand. So by number 52, I have phobia in the matrix. So it's a very abstract thing, phobia. So that's why I use, for example, the image of Freud as someone who represents phobia. In other words, we need to embody or objectivize abstract notions, abstract, let's say, meanings. And we need to make them more like objects, to be more objective, more like substantial. So that's the way to do it. Also, in those word lists that you will make, there could be also abstract words. For example, here we could have like gauche is quite abstract, or lourd is in French, so it will be heavy. It's also some kind of abstract term. So we need to imagine here, by lourd, French lourd, we need to imagine something heavy, like heavyweight, or something like very heavy, maybe a bag for someone. It depends on what comes to your mind as something really very heavy. So we need to objectivize things. So that's the second. That was the second problem that may arise in this field of, let's say, mental or philosophical issues. Also, there is one issue which I called the disease of Ivan Karamazov. That's let's say a character from one of the books of Dostoevsky, which is called Brothers Karamazovs. And there is a person, Ivan Karamazov, who, first of all, I call this disease by his name because he is the one who knew about that there would be an attempt to kill his father, and he left the place. So he didn't stop evil, and this can happen also with languages. When we have some kind of negative attitude to some language, for example, to French, or French maybe to English, or quite the opposite, that can damage the, let's say, the organ in our mentality, in our psyche, which helps us to learn all the rest of the languages. So, and that's how it plays. I could give a much longer explanation of this phenomena, but I don't want to take more of your time. In other words, we need to treat all languages equally, and we need to understand that all languages are beautiful. Sometimes we don't understand that, because from our position all the time, from our focusing, and for our aesthetics, we may not hear that beauty in other languages. That's why we exercise, that's why we analyze those movements in other languages. And we'll develop that, let's say, acoustic quality or acoustic acceptedness in our head, in our imagination, with the help of word list and correct movements, focusing and position of the tongue. So this is about mental issues. There could be some also, the other set of issues, it's about social. We need to create habitat or like environment around us which is acceptable, or which accepts us as someone who studies many foreign languages. And I advise my colleagues, or those who are autodidacts who want to learn a lot of foreign languages, to practice them in the family, first of all. And to practice that on your wife or on husband, and also on children. And also it works better if we some kind of identify, or we attach one language to a person. Let's say children could you could speak 3 or 2 foreign languages to your children, and 1 to your wife. Maybe parents could be involved. So this is the, let's say, the circle of the first row. Also, we could build friends, but especially in the family, that's very important because it's a daily place where we live, where we can exercise, where we can use, and also later on kids will help you to study foreign languages too, because they will correct you. They are very easy to learn languages if you know how to teach those languages to them. With this, if you like this program, people put likes and also share it, or you can also ask your questions. All the best. Bye bye.